Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bait Escape. I am your host, Beastly Baiter, and you already know that you can find me. Well, some of you might not know, but most of you know that you can find me all over social media. I am out there spreading messages of love and acceptance and all kinds of sexy shit. So feel free to contact me and say, hey, um, I started this new hashtag called hashtag Hey Beastly, and you can hashtag that, and I will answer any and all sex questions that I feel that I'm knowledgeable about answering. So don't feel shy about using that. Please, I look forward to hearing your questions and talking to you all about the powers of masturbation. You can find me on Twitter, Snapchat, baitworld.com, new Tumblr. You can also start finding me on Spotify Music and Apple Music. I have a really great bait playlist that I love to continuously update. So please follow that. It's full of cool tunes that you can bait to, that you can party to. You can play it at a nice dinner party. Keep things really sexy. I'm really proud of. I'm really, really proud of that playlist. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all having a really great February. God, it's already going to be the end of the month. Jeez. I don't know about y'all, but my 2021 is starting off pretty rocky. I mean, I was really looking forward to having like a better start of a new year, but I don't know. I feel like I'm dealing with some more challenging things. Um, One thing that I'm doing is being more proactive about my health, like my literally my physical health and my mental health. So that's an ongoing process for me. I feel like it's a little daunting and overwhelming, but I'm an adult. I can do this. I guess that's what happens as you get older, man. Your fucking body starts doing weird shit. So all you young bros out there, just enjoy it while you can. But word of advice, just treat your body well, okay? You know, like it's all fun and games until you start getting into your early 30s and late 30s, and you're just like, the fuck was I doing at 21 to my body to deserve this shit? Anyway, yellow. Um, how has everyone's bait going on? I hope that you're all baiting. I want to hear a resounding yes from everyone right now. I can hear it now across the world because your bait coach is rooting for you. And you know that I will only support you in baiting daily because masturbation is a practice, especially for those that identify as being solosexual, such as myself. I believe that daily masturbation practice is a must because it teaches you all sorts of things about yourself. It teaches you self love, it teaches you connection, it teaches you to stick to your word. I think that's really important. I don't think that's something that I've ever talked about, but it's a commitment that you're making to enhance um, the wonderful things in your life. It's like committing to go to the gym. It's like committing to eat healthy. It's committing to teaching yourself how to give yourself the best pleasure, how to really find all the sexy things about yourself that will empower you to give yourself the most amazing orgasms. And when you choose to give that to someone else, you have the confidence to let that person know exactly what they need to do to get you off. See how that works? So I urge you to practice daily. Um, at the time that I'm recording this podcast, I have not, but I will. It's something that I definitely do. I need to get done today. how was your all day today? I don't know when you're listening to this. And I hope that everything that is happening in your day, whether it's the morning or afternoon or evening, has been pretty amazing. What did I do today? Today, well, for me, today is a Sunday, and I woke up and I started doing um, this 30-day yoga session that a bait bro of mine from Instagram told me to check out. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to definitely need to do that. COVID has definitely taken its toll. I mean, well, not COVID, but um, not being able to like access a gym and just being more careful about where I go to in public settings. My workouts have definitely suffered, but you know what? I'm getting back into it. That's the most important thing that I can do, and it's going to be pretty amazing. I'm looking forward to. I'm on day 2, so tomorrow I'm going to be on day 3 of that. It's gonna be really good. I already feel it in my body. It's like, well, but it's really cool how muscle memory works. Like once you just start getting back into it, it's like this thing that your body just knows how to do. It's the same with your baiting. Your dick remembers the touch of your hand. This is true. And I feel like I should like do a test on this. I should show this off. My dick knows when it's time for a bait. It's fully responsive to the touch of my right hand because I'm a righty. Um, Sometimes when I want to spice things up a bit, I'll do it with my left. That's always exciting. Back to what I did today. So I did some yoga, and then I was being creative this weekend. I was really excited to get back into some creative work. Some of you may know, some of you may not know that I actually went to school for photography, and I studied art and design. Yep, that's been a passion of mine for a while now, just art in general. And for a really long time, I just stopped creating photographs because I just wasn't compelled to do it. I don't know, I just kind of lost the fuel, the flame for it, the fire, and it just died down. And for a really long time, I was kind of like unsure if I would ever get that spark back. But it's coming back to me slowly but surely, and I think it's because of masturbation, because I'm disciplined in my baiting to do it daily. And I decided to transfer that discipline over to my photography. So while I might not be making it a career anymore, I can certainly still make it a hobby and find that really enjoyable. So I did that. I put up a bunch of pictures. So if you follow me on Instagram and Twitter, you'll see them. Pretty happy about it. It's always so interesting with art, though, because I feel like as an artist, I always have like this image of what I want to produce. And then it's only when you actually start doing the work that it can change slightly. And in the past, I used to be really hard on myself because I used to think, God, it's not turning out the way I wanted to turn out. Like, why can't I just get this right? And as an artist, you just kind of have to like um, trust the process. And you can see how this correlates to masturbation, right? Okay, you know where I'm going with this, bros or folks. I'm gonna start saying folks now because I want to be a little bit more. I want to be a lot more inclusive in this podcast. So you can see where I'm going with this, folks. So I decided just the process in my work and my art, and what started out as an idea in my head slightly shifted in the end product, but it was still equally great, which is to me a sign of success. Like, okay, it didn't end the way you thought it would end, but it's still pretty good. I mean, that's just a fucking life lesson, okay? Like, you can apply that shit into all aspects of your life. And if you just stick with it and trust your talent and your skill and your knowledge, you can be really successful and accomplish a really, really amazing things. What else did I do today? I went to the park. I got some lunch. For anyone that lives in Los Angeles, California, I got some Zanku chicken, and that is my shit. if I'm dating you and you take me to Zankus Chicken on the first date, you're getting laid. Like, like that's a no-brainer to me, man. Like, fuck, Zankus Chicken is, it's life. So I got some of that, and I went to the park, and I started reading a lot. I started reading, well, not started, I've continued reading The Erotic Mind by Jack Morin. So fucking good. Oh my God. It's that book is like a game changer for me right now. It's really dense. I feel like I have to reread things a lot, but that book is like highlighted all over, man. Like there's so many different things in that book that resonates so much, and I'm learning so much. It's so fascinating. And then I also started rereading A Portrait of a Masturbator by Jason Armstrong. Really cool book. That guy is super smart. Check it out. It's one of the first books I ever read when I started discovering solo sexuality, and I recommended it to a new bait bro, and he got it and was like, "Oh, I'm so excited about this book. It's really cool." And I was like, "Oh, I'll read it with you because I haven't read it in a really long time." So we're reading that together, which is really cool. We're gonna talk about it and share some notes. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, what else? Then I came home and then I worked on some sex coach homework, which is really cool. So that's going really well. I have a session next weekend, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I hope everything is good with you folks and you're having the time of your lives, because you deserve it, because you're amazing, gorgeous, beautiful humans that deserve all kinds of special love and attention and greatness. So please wallow in all that goodness. I really wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a couple of things, but before I go into like my whole spiel, I really want to focus on a couple of questions that I got from some bait bros on social. And I think these two came from Twitter. Yep, from Twitter. And the question was, I've been wondering about for a bit. What I've been wondering, what's the question? Sorry. Okay, it's not just me. It's a weird. Okay. Um, how much baiting is too much? So he wants to know if he's baiting too much. Great question, and a really great book for this baiter to check out, and for any baiter or person that thinks that they're baiting too much, is a book called Real Men Masturbate by MB Timothy, who to me is like um the father of masturbation. He was one of the first people. I think he probably was the first person to catch my attention when I first started on this journey. And you'll hear me talk to him, or you'll hear me talk about him and reference him a lot, because he's that life changing to me. He really made an impact. But essentially, in the book, he talks about the reason why he wrote the book is because he had the same inquiry. He was like, I want to know if I masturbate too much. And I think in the book, he went into this whole process of like searching online for like all these different answers. Like, I mean, what's too much to masturbate? I feel like I'm doing it way too much. And the answer that he finally was able to give himself was no, he doesn't masturbate too much. And I take the same stance. I don't think there is such a thing as masturbating too much. I think that you are allowed to masturbate however much you want. I think the danger is that, and this could apply to anything, when that thing that you really enjoy starts interfering with other aspects of your life. Um, so like if you are canceling really important things like a job interview or your mom's birthday dinner, like if you're canceling those things to stay home and masturbate, you might want to reassess, and might want to reprioritize. Although I encourage you to make masturbation a priority in your life, you can certainly shift it in the way that you plan your life. Excuse me. So it doesn't always have to be this huge this huge display of affection for yourself. Oftentimes, if I'm in a hurry or if I know I have a packed day, I'll do a really quick. I'll do a quickie in the morning while I'm showering. It'll literally take me 5 minutes to nut. Or if I don't have that time in the morning, I'll definitely do it before I get to bed. Like it'll, I once you begin to practice your masturbation, you begin to get a lot better at recognizing what's going to get you off. So you're able to just have them quicker. But for this bait bro that asks if he's masturbating too much, how much is too much? I mean, I in a date I've masturbated. What's the most I've masturbated? I feel like I've masturbated on a really good day. I mean, I feel like I masturbated like 5 or 6 times a day. Um, and again, like maybe the first one was like an hour or two, and then the next one was like 30 minutes, and then after that, it was just like short bursts of like pleasure. By the sixth one, I think I was like dry coming. I was just having like these dry orgasms. But yeah, it was a really horny day for me. I'm just referencing this one specific day. It was just a really horny day for me, and I was just like, I think that day I was wearing like my metal ball stretcher, and when I wear that, I'm very, very much attuned to my genitals because I feel this heavy metal on it, and it feels good. So for me, it was just kind of this experiment of like, how horny can I be that day? Like, if I can maintain my horniness throughout the day. And I did. It was really successful. He goes on to say that he's been thinking about this because he spent a lot more time baiting this year because of lockdown, which is totally normal and totally healthy. I encourage you all to continue to practice social distancing and continue to masturbate in solo because, again, you want to protect yourself and you want to protect people around you and your family. So yeah, I think it's completely normal for someone to masturbate more frequently than they're regularly used to doing, especially in the time of COVID. Since everyone's locked down, you're not really going out to the bars or clubs or wherever other places you're going out to meet people. So yes, it is it would be ordinary. It would be like a thing to do during lockdown. So again, don't worry if you're masturbating too much. There's really no such thing. Just worry when your masturbation starts to interfere with other pleasurable acts in your life. Then you might want to take a step back and kind of think, okay, well, I can't really. I got to stop canceling dates just to masturbate. I got to like prioritize and kind of figure out a scheduling for it. And if you need help with that, let me know. I'm always here to help. I'm your bait coach. Cool. So, second question, this bait bro says, so as someone who has low sex drive and depression, etc., I don't often jack off. I worry that I'm actually causing more health problems by not jerking off. Do you think that could be a thing? I know you aren't a medical professional. I'm not a doctor, but let's see here. What can I say to this? I I don't think that not masturbating causes any health problems. And I think the next question or the next comment he said was like he was concerned about what happens to all the sperm that a male can produce in his testes if he's not ejaculating it. And I believe that sperm just gets recycled back into your testes. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't travel to any other part of your body and cause any kind of bodily damage. I think it literally just kind of recycles back into your testicles until you're ready to ejaculate again, which is cool, which is like a perk of being male. If you're into sperm, you're just constantly producing it. You're like constantly giving it away, which is cool. I like cum. Let's see. But I think more the question here was he's concerned that he's not jerking off due to his low sex drive and depression. And to that I say it's okay. it's totally okay to have these feelings of depression, and it's totally okay to have the low sex drive. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that you find more pleasurable interest in other things. And masturbation isn't one of them. And I think for me, anytime that I've ever dealt with depression, I can say for a fact that my masturbation habits were definitely affected. Often, when I experience episodes of my own depression, I don't masturbate. It's there's not a connection that's happening in my body. And I've said this before that anytime I try to masturbate, the goal really is to have three things aligned, which is your mind, your heart, and your genitals. And when those three things are in line, um, you're really in tune with your baiting, and those things enhance the pleasure that you're experiencing. So anytime that when I'm experiencing a depressive episode, um, something is off. Either my heart isn't in it, or my head's somewhere else, or my genitals aren't responding. And it's in those times that I feel that I need to give myself the most compassion and the most patience. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to force something that doesn't feel good to do. It's like going to a party that you're really not interested in going to, or watching a movie that you really don't have an interest in watching. It's the same thing with sex. Don't have sex if it's not going to be pleasurable for you. There's no point. Um, so if you're not beating because you are depressed or you're having a depressive episode, it's okay. Take the time to just show yourself compassion, take a lot of self-care. If you feel that the depression is overwhelming or it's unbearable, or you feel like it's spiraling into other dangerous territories, then I encourage you to seek medical professional attention. There's so many different resources that you can access and utilize. There's so many different apps that you can use that are more costly, are a lot more affordable, is what I'm trying to say. Or if you have insurance and you can afford these services, then yeah, I definitely encourage you to seek out some help and talk to someone about this, and hopefully um, there's a resolution and you get the help that you need, and you can begin to explore the joys and benefits of masturbating. I will say though that masturbation is proven to release endorphins. I don't have the exact science studies by it, but I can tell you from personal experiences, um, jacking off is fucking great. It just makes you feel good, man. Like, just the joy of just like having that pleasure all over your body. And then once you're done, you're just kind of like, man, that felt good. You fucking nut, and you get like this rush of endorphins and this euphoric feeling. So it can certainly help in making you feel more pleasurable, slightly happier. But again, it starts with you wanting to do it in the first place. Don't force yourself to do something that you're not going to find pleasure in. Cool. So thank you for those questions, bros. I really, really enjoyed answering them. And please ask more questions. I encourage you all to ask questions. Hashtag Hey Beastly. You can use it on Instagram. You can use it on Snapchat. I don't know how it would work on Snapchat, but you can certainly snap me and ask me questions. And you can definitely use it on Twitter. Right. So I wanted to talk about my most recent bait buddy session. It was really cool. I met this guy. I think I met him off of Grindr. And after talking to him for a couple of weeks, I quickly realized that he was such a baiter. I'm telling you guys, if you ask the right questions, you can spot out a baiter so quick. Um, but he was a really fun guy. And it was a really great interaction because it was it was one of the first times in which I had no expectations whatsoever of our encounter. It was really cool. Um, I talked to him for a couple of weeks, enough to know that we would. I knew that we would definitely vibe. Like I thought he was a really cool guy. Um, I was definitely physically attracted to him, and when we were talking about sex practices and all that good shit, again, I quickly realized that he was a beta, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have some amazing sex. So he came over, and it was such a cool time. Like we took our time to really kind of get to know each other. Like it's one thing to meet someone on a grinder and kind of talk to each other in that space. It just doesn't seem, I don't know. For me, anytime that I engage in those spaces, that person's not a fully realized human until I actually meet them. Then you kind of get a better sense of who they are. Like you can see, you can better understand like their body language, and uh, you can see their facial expressions when they talk. It communicates a lot. Like just their body in general says so much about a person. The way they move and the way they interact with themselves and with you, it's really telling. So he came over, and it was pretty chill in the beginning. Like I greeted him at the door, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Beastly. Thanks for coming over." And he was super chill. He was like, "Yeah, thanks for having me over. I'm really excited to meet, hang out." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." So I feel like for the first 5 to 10 minutes, like we were just like casually chatting. And I asked him if he wanted some water. I offered him an orange. And he finally made it back to my bedroom, and I put on some cool music, and I put on some incense. And he was like asking me questions about like my crystals that I had on my dresser. And I was like, oh yeah, man, I love crystals. Like I'm starting to get to know, I just recently started getting into them. And this one's um rose quartz, and it's for self-love. And he was like, oh man, check out these bracelets. Like I have crystals too. And I was like, holy shit. And we started this really cool dialogue, and like it kind of like we were just being bros. Like there was never any expectation for him to be anything more than that. And I found that when I like lowered my expectations, or I just didn't have any expectations at all, like I became pleasantly surprised by our interaction. I was like, holy shit, this guy's actually really cool. Like we never talked about crystals in our grinder conversations, and it was only when he saw things in my bedroom that he was just like, oh, he became genuinely curious about these things, and I could give him a genuine answer. Like it was like this authentic interaction that we were having, and immediately like my anxiety went from like maybe like a 7 or 8 straight down to a 2. I was like, oh, this dude's like a homie. Like I felt like I had known him for a long time. And I find that when I get to that level of connection with another person, I have the best sex. Um and I mean that's coming more and more frequently now, because I really only have sex with other solo sexuals or people that are into masturbation. But I think the most important lesson from this interaction was only when I accepted this person for who they really were, like this fully realized person that was in front of me in this bedroom at this moment, did I really begin to have this immediate connection with them. And we started to get naked, and it was super casual. Like no one was hard. We were both soft, and we were both chilling in my bedroom, smoking on my stizzy. We are talking about music, and we were surfing porn online together, and we were talking about what really turns us on. And it was just like this really great bro chat. Like I was just like, oh, this is like the setup. This is like my kind of foreplay. Like let's talk about porno and like marijuana. That's cool. Like, we're just fully naked and like enjoying our time, and like we were totally vibing. And that was so much fun. And after a while, like he just kind of kept creeping closer, and I kind of got closer, and our feet started to rub together. And it was like this slow progression into like this sexual encounter that we knew inevitably was going to happen, but we didn't rush to get there. Like we really took our time to like ask questions about one another. And you could kind of get a sense of who he was by like the questions I was asking about his porno. I was like, "Oh, what kind of porn are you into?" And he was like, "Oh, I really love like, guys masturbating." And I was like, "Oh, baiter." And I was like, "What else?" And he was like, I love like orgy porn." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, why do you like orgy porn?" And he started talking about like male energy and like brotherhood and like camaraderie. And I was like, holy shit. I was just like, yeah, this is totally my vibe. And I found myself like getting aroused just by our conversation. And I think the reason why my body was reacting that way was because I was so comfortable in the situation. I became so comfortable being naked with him. I became really comfortable in our conversation. Again, it just felt like I'd known her for a really long time. And that was a really cool interaction. And when I think back on like my prior interactions, I want to say like my non-solo sexual lifestyle, it was never really like that. Like I was always just so preoccupied with like trying to be like this sexual thing for this other person. Like I was trying to be their version of sexy because I just really wanted it to be an amazing time. And I just didn't understand that when you are yourself in all that you do, that's sexy. Right? Like you don't need to fucking like you don't need to perform for anyone. You are you. And that's what people are attracted to. Let me tell you, if you're in my bedroom, you don't need to do any kind of performing. It it's gonna happen. The fact that you're even there should be a clear sign that I want you there. That I find you sexy enough to invite you to my bedroom and be naked with you in this vulnerable situation. Like you're good. Um, and it was such a cool lesson to like teach myself because it's just like moving forward, that's how I want all my fucking asexual interactions to be. I just want to vibe out with someone. Um, because I feel like when I vibe out with someone, that's when the connection really enhances. And when I have a really deep connection with someone, that's when I have the most profound sex. I can truly say that now, like without a doubt. So that's cool. So what's the lesson in that? The lesson here is to just really always be yourself in everything that you do. Because I truly believe that when you're authentic with yourself and you present those things out to the world, people see the real you. And that's what people really want to see. They don't want to see some like pretend version of who you are. They want to know that you're fucking into crystals and that you like oranges and that you like orgy porn. Like that's real. So maybe the lesson here is to just always keep it real. And when you do that, the other person will feel comfortable to also keep it real with you. And then you're just being real with each other. No expectations, no pressure, just a really great time. So I encourage you to go out and have a really great bait buddy session with your bro or your bros. That's a good time too. And keep it real. It's going to be a good time. And I want to hear all about it. Talk to me. Ask me questions. I'm rooting for you. I'm your bait coach. And look forward to bringing you another episode very soon.